Hey guys, it's Jake. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can replace yourself in your worship ministry and how the best worship leaders aren't afraid of actually replacing themselves. So here's what I mean. It's really important if you're going to build a team out and your ministry is going to thrive, that you as the worship leader are finding ways to train, equip, and empower others to really take ownership of different pieces of the worship ministry. So that's going to actually free you up to keep building out the worship ministry and only doing things that you're able to do, right? Like maybe some of those higher level creative things that you want to see happen in your ministry, whether that's songwriting, whether that's planning a worship night, whether that's I don't know, just training other people and helping them to be better. Like you can't do that stuff when you're kind of stuck in the weeds of the week to week stuff for worship ministry of, you know, picking songs, preparing charts, building Ableton sets, all those things that are like really repetitive and just take a lot of your time up. So today I just want to walk through ways of how you can go about replacing yourself and equipping other people in your worship ministry. So the first step is there. That's a non-functioning marker. Seriously, I was just using this before. Oh my gosh. Oh, in my pocket. The first step, now that I found a functioning marker, is one, build smart systems. So make sure you are building smart and efficient systems in your worship ministry. So what do I mean by that? I mean making sure that for whatever has to get done on a weekly basis, that you have an efficient way of doing it and an intelligent way of doing it rather than just kind of shooting from the hip all the time. So for example, when it comes to just planning a Sunday morning and executing a Sunday morning, maybe the songs and such, right? Like there's a lot of things that have to happen. You have to pick what songs are going to be played and sung. You have to then also make sure your band is going to be prepared. You have to make sure your tech team is going to be prepared, that you've made like the pro presenter slides and the lighting cues and all that stuff is going to be good to go. So there's a lot of little elements that have to fall into place on a weekly basis. So you have to make sure you're building smart systems to do that. So a couple ways to do that is to first really, make sure you're using the right tools for different things. Like, there's tools out there like Planning Center, and that gets done like 90% of what you need to do. And then there's other tools too. I'm trying to think outside of that. You have basic things like Dropbox or whatever, but use the right tools, such as Planning Center. Stop planning your services on some Excel spreadsheet somewhere. Planning Center, you can start for free and build your whole song library out there, build services, and then as you add a bunch of people, then you can pay for it. If your church can spare $20 a month, which is very minimal expense. If you have a team of like 5 people or more, $20 a month will make everybody's life so much easier. So anyways, this is sounding more like a sales pitch for Planning Center. I have no affiliation with them. Planning Center, if you want to send me money, I won't turn it away. But they just have the best tool for the job right now. So you have to be using these tools. If you're not, you are just going to waste so much time. It's going to have so much headache, and you're not going to be building smart systems. So tools like Planning Center, make sure you're using those, and then also really just come up with what's called standard operating procedures. So it's a fancy way of saying just like what's your list of how you get things done, and it's important to actually document that, right? So for example, here's my standing operating procedure for when I need to make a new chord chart. It is this. Step 1, determine what the song is. So say we were to pick the song. Let's say it's the song Surrounded. We just did that song at our church. We introduced that one a couple weeks ago. Okay, so step 1 is make sure we know the arrangement of the song we're doing, right? So we're doing the arrangement of the song where it's not just the chorus repeating over and over for 10 minutes. It's actually like they have a verse, chorus, verse, whatever. It's like my favorite arrangement of that song. And then determine the arrangement, and then go to praisecharts.com. That's my favorite place. Again, I'm not affiliated with Praise Charts. They just are creating the best tool for this thing. So go to praisecharts.com, not CCLI. CCLI has not very good tools for chord charts builder. They're getting better. They're not nearly as good as Praise Charts yet. But go to praisecharts.com, buy the song for $2 because, you know, my time, 15 minutes to make my own chart or whatever it is, like it's actually, my time is worth, that 15 minutes is worth a lot more than just $2, right? So I go to Praise Charts, I buy the chart, and then in the chart and Praise Charts, I go into the like edit document feature. I get the raw text for Chord Pro in the right key that I want to kind of be our standard key for the song. I copy that raw text, I put it into Planning Center, in the lyrics and chord editor for that song. And this is after I've created that new song in Planning Center. So there's a lot of steps, right? And that's why we have to make sure we have all this stuff listed out. So I put the raw text into the chord editor and Planning Center, and then I tweak it a little bit, get the formatting the way I want to, make 2 columns, make a 12 size font, Arial Helvetica font. I'm not even sure if that's the right one I actually use. And then bam, within about less than like 2 minutes, I have a perfectly made chord chart in Planning Center, ready to go. It can be transposed, it can be rearranged and all this stuff, right? So that's what I mean by like developing a standard operating procedure. So then all those things that I just talked about, you know, you can either make a video about it, like a screencast about how you go through and do these things, or you could just get a Google Doc and just like write, you know, standard operating procedure, creating new chord charts or whatever. And then you're able to then go ahead and list out in bullet points, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And then what's cool is that you've really intentionally thought about the system that you're using. And hopefully you're on your way to building a really smart and efficient system. But then that's going to be replicable for others to come along and read the directions. So that's why McDonald's is able to take a bunch of like teenagers and train them on how to make a Big Mac, right? Like most teenagers, if you just like gave them the ingredients for a Big Mac, they probably couldn't figure out what it is, right? So they're still developing. But when they have an instruction manual, standard operating procedures, they know exactly what to do. So that's why a lot of McDonald's, a lot of these big franchises, Starbucks, they all have them, and that's why they can take anybody at any competence level and train them on how to do these things. Overnight, someone can be an amazing burger griller or a barista. So I think the same thing can happen a lot for the worship ministry stuff that we're working on. And this will save you time. This is a cool thing that happened to me a couple years ago when I realized this. This was back when we're still using music stands in our worship ministry. So my musicians were, expecting chord charts every time they showed up. Actually, a lot of time they would like keep their own copies, bring them home, and it was just a mess. Like, they wouldn't have the right arrangement. So I'm like, okay, you're going to show up and I'm going to have a 3-ring binder with all the right chord charts just for this Sunday in that 3-ring binder. It's all going to be ready to go. So you literally just show up and it's there on your stand and you don't have to do anything. So I realized it's probably taken me like a half hour a week to like print out the paper, hole punch it, put it in the ring 3-ring binders, right? Maybe not that long, maybe like 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes I could have been doing something else, like practicing songs or whatever. So I realized at this church I was working at, we're like a mid-sized church, and we had secretaries in the office. They're kind of like administrative assistants. And at first when I got hired there, I'm like, what are they doing? Like, I don't see, like, I'm a full-time staff member here, but I don't feel like they're assisting me at all. But that was my fault. I didn't realize how they could assist me. So what I did is I created a standard operating procedure for something as simple as printing out charts, every week and putting them in a 3-ring binder. So then what was cool is when I had all my services planned, I just told them, hey, every Tuesday, go ahead and print these out, prepare these binders, and then put them on the stands. Or actually, no, not put them on the stand, just put them in my mailbox that we had in our office. And it was like magic. So then every time, the day before rehearsal or the day of rehearsal, I would just go in the office, I would see all the binders for my band members prepared, ready to go. I would grab those and put them on the stands, and it was done. I didn't have to do anything. Like, I didn't have to mess with any copy machines or anything like that. So just some of the ideas of what happens when you start building smart systems. It's going to make sure that you're saving yourself a lot of time, and then it's also going to make it that everything you're doing is replicable, so that if something happens to you, if you move on to another church or whatever, people will know what all is going on, and your leadership will be very grateful for that. So then step number 2 is to really to hand it off. Like once you've like figured out, you know, what the smart systems are and stuff like that, at least according to you, then go ahead and hand it off to someone and be like, hey, how about you prep all the charts this week for worship? Or how about you start building all of our Ableton Live set lists or things like that. And then what's cool is often what happens, step number 3, you empower other people, and then what happens to do these things, and then they end up making it better. And they end up making it better, they make it smarter, more efficient. I just know this has happened with us a lot. Ashton's kind of like my right-hand man for a lot of things, for church front, for our worship ministry. He probably is doing 90% of the weekly work that has to get done to make Sunday morning happen. And he often will take something that I show him how to do, I hand him a standard operating procedure, and then he makes it better, he makes it more efficient. It's really cool because then you have, instead of just one brain making these smart systems, then you have someone else working on it as well. And then at the end of the day, like again, for the best example I can speak to is my own life right now, where, you know, I still lead worship every Sunday, and, you know, we're at a church plant, so we set up and tear down every Sunday, and we're doing a lot, right? Like you guys know, like everything we do, I pretty much share on this channel of all the infrastructure we're using, all the strategies we use and things like that. And I mean, I'm a part-time worship leader, but it's even sad to even call me part-time because, or hard to call me even part-time because, like, I feel like most of my work is just showing up on Sunday at, you know, 6 a.m. I come here at the church, or not the church, my office, and I kind of prep everything like a little bit, or I just kind of like, you do some final prep stuff, you know, looking over the worship service, the songs we got going, making sure, you know, I double check Ableton once in a while, make sure, you know, everything looks good there. That only takes me a couple minutes. I think about what I want to say or pray during the service, like any transitional points or things like that. And then at 7:15, actually no, 6:15, the guys get here, Ashton and Luke. We carpool to church, we go to McDonald's, and then we set up for an hour, we rehearse for an hour and a half, the service happens, it's lots of fun, then we tear down for another hour, hour and a half, and that's it. Like, I don't know, I spend like 6 hours a week and then maybe another hour or two. Like, I talk to our pastor once a week, make sure we're on the same page. But because we've built these systems, these smart systems, and then I've handed it off to like Ashton, and Sarah helps with planning too, and they've made these things better, then it frees me up so that Monday through Friday, I'm spending 98% of my time, my workday time, on church front and helping worship leaders, and training worship leaders and making random YouTube videos like this, because that's what I love to do. The only reason I can do that is because I've built the systems that free me up to do that. So speaking of what I do, such a great segue, right, at the end of these videos. I really like helping worship leaders do this and this, and really empowering them to figure out, okay, how can I make improvements to the systems that I have for weekly preparation and planning for my ministry, and then how can I hand that off to others, and that frees me up to do kind of higher level creative work, and then eventually just the ministry is going to grow and thrive. So this is what I specialize in doing. If you want to connect with me, I'm going to put a link down below this video where you can complete an application form for our coaching and training program. We'll hop on a call. It'll be either myself or another one of our team members. We'll get to know your ministry more and your situation. And if it sounds like we can help, then yeah, we'll help you out, and we'll make this happen so you can build some smart systems for your worship ministry and really see some things flourish. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up button if you found it helpful. Share it with your worship leader friends if they might find it helpful. And keep up the great work. See you later.